Yeah, I think everyone looks at the president and they look from the bottom up instead of proving their own life. For me, I always work at, obviously the president matters, but my life is good, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden. Yeah, there might be a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I think our politicians are terrible, but it's about me to make my life good. And like, no one really talks about starting from the bottom up. Everyone wants to go from the top down from the president, but it's not working. We can see it's failed. So it's like you're trying something new.
Yes.
You know, and even when we disagree on a few things, the idea of you're trying to build up, you know, better men, better society to make the country better, I think you're 100% on the correct model. How old are you?
26.
It's crazy like how young you are. You're doing this. When did you start this organization?
I started the organization fresh out of high school when I was 18 years old.
So what like motivated you to do this? It seems I'm not going to be like Patrick Davis and
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
So I graduated high school, and shortly after that summer, I went to the Charlottesville rally. And of course, it was chaotic. It was very eye-opening for me. I was very green in a lot of these things, and I learned what not to do in many ways. I learned that there is something valuable in nationalism there, and I met a lot of great people. You know, you meet a lot of people who aren't so great, and things were kind of chaotic back then.
There's some scammy people in the industry too. You learn real quick. There are some legitimate people that like don't offer anything. But you learn
the difference. You learn who is and who isn't. And I was able to discern that yes, there is something genuine in patriotism. There is a cause here that's worth something, but I didn't think it was being handled properly. And I had ins and outs with other people in, you know, the movement, quote unquote, at the time. And at a certain point, I decided, you know what, somebody has to do it. Nobody else is doing what I think needs to be done. So I stepped forward and I created an organization. And for many years, it was a very difficult task because you have to convey faith in a vision that is hard to imagine for people who have never
Everyone says you're crazy.
experienced it. Yes, and I want to build a certain lifestyle. I want to build communities that people can be engaged in, something that can really change people's lives. And for a number of years, it was faith. It was very faith-based, and we had a mission, and I'm very happy to say that a lot of what we promised, a lot of the vision that we started out with has come to fruition. Of course, the country is not like we like it, but we are creating spaces within the country that do mirror and reflect and provide an example of what we want society to look like in general. So the motivation was that I wanted something to happen. I wanted something to happen which wasn't already happening. And I wasn't somebody who came out to seek leadership. I was somebody who had an opportunity to do the right thing, and that's always what I've done. I'm not in it for personal gain. I don't, we don't take public donations. I don't ingratiate myself in these things. I live a very meager, modest lifestyle.
Yeah, and I mean, you look like you're being very casual. That's what I was wondering. The amount of time you must spend in this organization, because I've been hanging out, I realize how organized it is. Must make a full-time job. So it's like
more than full-time. Every waking hour.
So I was wondering how you manage to do this. You must just, I don't want to know about your finance too much because people try to they'll try to cash, they'll try to ruin all your money, which they've done it to me too. So that's why I don't really share any ways I make money. So I won't ask those questions, but I know it must be like, I'm looking at your organization, I'm like, wow, this must be like a full-time job.
No, and people, that's actually, so it is, of course, it's every hour I have, everything I do, it's my life's passion.
But you love it, right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people, I'm really lucky to have found my life's passion practically when I was a teenager. And I've been, my whole adult life, I've been organizing. This is something which I like to think I'm very experienced in. And it is something which has absolutely motivated everything, every decision I've made for the past, going on 10 years, 8 years. And when it comes to money, I think people are surprised. That's where a big Fed accusation comes from. It's like, how do they fund these things?
Yeah, with money, exactly.
Nothing we do is something that a regular person can do. How do you think the U-Haul company exists? Well, normal people rent the trucks. It's quite possible. And people buy their own dress code. And they travel collectively, you carpool. I'm sure millions of people visit national parks every year.
People take their own money to do things you love. That's what it's like. A lot of people train jiu-jitsu, but unless you're like one of the pros, you're paying to do that.
Exactly.
You're buying your own gis, you're paying to travel. So exactly. If you're passionate about something, you do it.